Yeah. I'm just reading this Bible, and I'm trying to figure out where Elijah and Elisha, how they got introduced to this. Yes. Now, it came in First Kings 9 that when Solomon had finished the building of the house of the Lord, yes, and the king's house and all Solomon's desire, which he was pleased to do, that the Lord appeared to Solomon the second time, as he appeared unto him at Gibeon. Now the Lord said unto him, I have heard thy prayer and thy supplication that thou hast made before me. I have hallowed this house which thou hast built to put my name there forever, and mine eyes and mine heart shall be there perpetually. If thou wilt walk before me as David thy father walked in integrity of heart and in uprightness, to do according to all that I have commanded thee, and will keep my statutes and my judgments, then I will establish the throne of thy kingdom upon Israel forever, as I promised to David thy father, saying, There shall not fail thee a man upon the throne of Israel. But if ye shall at all turn from following me, ye or your children, and will not keep my commandments and my statutes, which I have set before you, but go and serve other gods and worship them, then I will cut off Israel out of the land which I have given them, and this house, yes, which I have hallowed for my name, yeah, will I cast out of my sight, and Israel shall be a proverb and a byword among all people. Now, in verse 10, it came to pass at the end of 20 years, yes, when Solomon had built the two houses, the house of the Lord and the king's house, yeah. And now Hiram, yeah, the king of Tyre, had furnished Solomon with cedar trees and fir trees with gold according to all his desire. That then King Solomon gave Hiram 20 cities in the land of Galilee. Now for 20 years Solomon was building, yes. And then he paid him off after 20 years. He gave him a whole bunch of stuff. And Hiram sent to the king 60 talents of gold, and this is the reason of the levy which King Solomon raised, for to build the house of the Lord and his own house, and Milo and the wall of Jerusalem, and Hazor and Megiddo and Gezer. Yeah. All the cities and cities built in Jerusalem, and all the people that were left, and their children that were left after them, yeah, in the land whom the children of Israel. And then upon those did Solomon levy a tribute of bond service unto this day. Now, it looks like Solomon had quite a bit of work to do for 20 years. Yeah. His father David had made these plans of building this house for God, and then Solomon did that for 20 years. Yep. And then, well, something else happened. Then there was the Queen of Sheba. Yeah. Heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, and she came to prove him with hard questions. Yeah. She came to Jerusalem with very great train and camels that bear spices and very much gold and precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart. That a long conversation. Yeah. Solomon told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king which he told her not. Then when the queen of Sheba had seen all Solomon's wisdom in the house that he had built, and the meat of his table, and the sitting of his servants, and the attendance of the ministers, and their apparel, and the cupbearers, and his ascent by which he went up into the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in her. And she said to the king, It was a true report I heard in mine own land of thine acts and of thy wisdom. Yeah. Howbeit, verse 7, I believed not the words until I came, and mine eyes had seen it, and behold, the half was not told me. Thy wisdom and prosperity exceedeth the fame which I heard. Now, there's always this question of fame. See, this Solomon, he worked for decades. Yeah. He was the son of King David, and she didn't really believe what she was hearing. Yeah. Now, this idea of being famous, yeah. Are you famous today? Now, I know of this woman named Amber Rose and her son and her ex-husband. Yeah. But it seems that some individuals thought they were famous. They have a lot of fame. See, when I email you, yeah, actual documentation of kidnapping, yeah. Are you famous? Oh, uh, did you get to star in any shows? Oh, now I know my wife thought she was famous because she told Oprah to tear up the contract. Oh. And it seems that there are a lot of very famous people that the fame of them is more important than the actual laws of the United States. Yes. Now let's say, yeah, that you got paid for the show. Exactly who watched it? Well, all that fame, the notoriety. Yeah. See, I oftentimes ask myself, what is more infamous or famous? Oh, the idea that you're going to use fraud and forgery to issue court orders. Right. I'm going to make tens of thousands of videos. Yes. I'm going to put them on Facebook and email them throughout the world. And then you're the famous sheriff. Pouch! Has the fame of you spread throughout the world? Now, my thought is that I wanted my sons. Yes. And you took it upon yourselves to turn the court system into a show where you're going to be famous because of those that paid to see the show, those that got paid to make the show, ouch, and those that paid the actors in the show. Yeah. Now, if I went through the fame, not just the movie, yes, but the individuals that all contributed to the violating of the laws of the United States. Well, there's one thing to make a show, right? There's one thing to star in the show, yes, and then there's one thing to watch the show, yeah. Now, this fame of Solomon, yeah, I think that a lot of people did hear about him. Oh. And it seemed that the Queen of Sheba took all that time to travel there and brought him all kinds of gifts. Yes. And Solomon had some sort of anointing from God to do what he did. Poop. Now, let's talk about fame today. See, I didn't get any phone calls. Yes. No one knows about me. You've done a tremendous job covering up your crime. Pounce! Are you famous today? Has the fame of Clallam County, yes, spread throughout the world? Is there any possibility that the fame of Jefferson County has become known to other nations? Is there that vanity of glowing in your knowledge